Vancouver Whitecaps were 2-1 winners to the Houston Dynamo today at BC Place Stadium. Good evening. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650. My name's Tyler Green. Carl Robinson's thoughts in just a moment. Paul Mullen of BC Soccer in about 15 minutes from now, and lots of other scores happening today in Major League Soccer. Let's find out what happened. Here's Simon Fudge.
7 other games in Major League Soccer today. Marco Di Vaio returned for the Impact to Nurnda, 1-1 draw for Montreal at Philadelphia Union. It was DC United 2, Chicago Fire 2. Kansas City came from 2-1 down to win 3-2 at Colorado. Dallas 2, Portland 1, Real Salt Lake 3, Toronto FC 0. 10-man Seattle Sounders falling 2-1 at home to Columbus Crew. San Jose Earthquakes falling to a late Lee Win goal as New England Revolution win in California 2-1. And the only game tomorrow in MLS is New York Red Bulls against Chivas USA.
Tonight's Barber Poll brought to you by AnotherFineCut.com. What, if anything, is YP Lee's legacy with the Vancouver Whitecaps? Tweet us your thoughts with the hashtag Barber Poll at SoccerTalk650 or TylerGreenFC. You can also email us at SoccerTalk650@gmail.com or call us 604-280-0650 or vote. Well, I guess you can't really vote on this one, but you can let us know what your thoughts are. And you do so, and you have a chance to win a 1-hour service, whether that's a hot shave, whether that's a haircut from the fine folks at AnotherFineCut.com. We'll hear from Carl Robinson in just a second, but the Vancouver Whitecaps were winners versus the Houston Dynamo at BC Place Stadium tonight. 2-1 was the final. Goals from Jordan Harvey early as he picks up another goal. He's basically becoming a goal-scoring machine, and we'll hear from him here in a couple of minutes. But he scores the first goal for the Whitecaps. Darren Maddox with a nice performance himself draws a PK after a handball in the area. Kenny Miller takes it, scores, but then has to take it again, scores again, gives the Whitecaps a 2-0 lead. But Houston claws their way back with a goal. Can't get the second one. The Whitecaps end up winning this one, 2-1 the final. Carl Robinson spoke to the media after the match. Like we said, they had that 2-0 lead. They gave up a goal, and we've seen it once before in the first game here in Vancouver where the New York Red Bulls, and granted that game was sort of it was out of New York's reach at the time, but he wasn't entirely happy about that goal being given up. This one, potentially, with the game a little tighter, could have cost the Whitecaps 3 points, but after the match, Carl Robinson talked about the fact that the Whitecaps have been giving up some goals of late in the closing moments of games.
I was frustrated. I don't like conceding goals. I love scoring goals, but I don't like conceding goals. But I'm not as disappointed today, even though, as I was against New York. The New York game was put to bed, in the last 15 minutes of the game when we were 4-0 up, and I was disappointed we conceded that. I'm not today because I know that Houston are a very good set-piece team, and I knew that they would probably cause us trouble on set pieces, but to concede one goal on a set piece, it's not ideal, no, but the effort and the determination, I mean, we must have defended corner after free kick, so that's a positive I'll take out about that, so I'm not too disappointed.
And he also talked about Darren Maddox's performance, and we talked about it a little bit last week, that maybe him and Kenny Miller aren't necessarily performing well together, maybe not teaming up as good as they can. A little bit of change in the formation this time, though, Simon, where it was a diamond midfield and the two up front playing together, and they actually seemed to pair up fairly well tonight and create some good chances.
Yeah, I thought they were very good together, and there was also a willingness from Maddox to try his very best to get in behind the Houston backline when he would with his pace and stretch them. He showed real willingness and eagerness to try and create things and open things, but you could just see even when he came off about 65 minutes how frustrated he was that there was no end product of a goal for himself today. But he should be pleased with the effort that he put in this afternoon.
Yeah, and he did, like you said, he was able to kind of go after those defenders. led to that penalty. He was subbed off. We'll hear from Darren Maddox in just a second here, but first we'll hear from Carl Robinson, who really was asked the question about Darren Maddox's performance and exactly how what he said to him when he came off the field. But here's what Carl Robinson had to say.
Darren was fantastic in his performance today, and yeah, he didn't get the goal he probably deserved, but that will come. And I just said to him, there'll be decisions made based upon the good of the team, and that was a decision based upon the good of the team. Kenny had scored. I knew I was going to bring Kakuta on, which with a little bit of pace, so I pulled Darren off. But I said there's nothing personal with any players whatsoever, and decisions are made for the good of the team.
Yeah, and Darren Maddox, you touched on it, that he seemed a little bit frustrated coming off, but after the match, Darren talked about that. But here's a guy that the positives for Darren Maddox is that he's working hard, he's creating opportunities for himself, he's creating chances for other players as well, but he's not putting in those goals. And as much as he might be feeling a little bit frustrated about getting subbed off, he did talk to the media after the match and said that he's not really that worried about any of those type of things. And here's what Darren Maddox had to say post-game today.
I'm not worried about the chances. They're coming, but they're just not running back of the net. But, the club is moving in the right direction, and that's key. It's not about Darren getting chances. It's about we winning as a club and moving in the right direction.
I also love how Darren still refers to himself as Darren in the third person.
Classic stuff, really. I always gets me that. So. But
the one thing that I do like about Darren Maddox this year is the fact that he is talking more about the team, and it's not Darren Maddox is going to score 20 goals this season. Darren Maddox is going to do this. Darren Maddox is why this team made the playoffs in 2012. Darren Maddox didn't play a lot last year, so Darren Maddox and the team didn't make the playoffs. It's not that anymore. He really has that change of focus now where it's this team, and the team is doing well, and I'm trying to help the team. And I like that from Darren Maddox. It's a nice change that we've seen.
Yeah, I think it's also reflective in the way that he's been playing. You can tell that Carl Robinson has worked quite a bit with him in terms of talking to him and asking him to play a certain role, and that started right at the beginning of preseason to put his mind right and his focus in terms of how he would contribute to this team. And I think what we've seen in the first 4 games is a bit of an end product of all of that work in the preseason. To have him come and be back on track and be that team player that the team really need him to be.
And one guy that can't stop scoring goals is Jordan Harvey. He scored 4 last year, and he missed the one goal that could and really probably would have won the Vancouver Whitecaps the Voyageurs Cup. Missed that chance. And then all of a sudden, something just clicked for him and starts putting everything in the net. And again, in the right place at the right time today, gets the little bits of the head-on ball from Andy O'Brien, who picked up his first point in Major League Soccer, and Jordan Harvey scores again. Just one of those players that just seems to be right place, right time.
It's interesting for me how he seems to be given a license to get forward as best as he can. I saw that with him today in terms of how wide both him and Badershire would get, but also to get forward and attack. And not only do I anticipate that he could be getting in for the goals, but I wonder if Stephen Badershire might find himself in those similar spots as well this season.
And I had the chance to speak with Jordan Harvey in the locker room after this game, and basically joked with him. And said, Jordan, really, you scored a lot last year, and this year it's the same. You're becoming one of those goal-scoring machines for a defender.
Yeah, just trying to get in the right spots. Andy got his head on it, and he did well to get on it, and he put it towards goal, just try to get in there.
How do you feel about your game this year and this team's performance so far?
I feel like I've been solid, consistent throughout the 4 games. The team's performance, I thought we showed a lot of character. On the road, at home, we've been entertaining. And, there are things that we need to clean up, set pieces, that last set piece being one of them. and giving the ball away maybe in bad spots. But other than that, it's been great. And, I think we play really well here at home. We need to just translate that onto the road.
Some fun guys to watch as well playing in front of you.
Yeah, Pedro in the first half in particular got into great spots, and he picked out some great passes and really opened up the game for us. So that was kind of the start of a good game, was him getting on the ball.
There's Jordan Harvey talking to me post-match, and he also, after the interview, we talked just about the fact that Carl Robinson spoke to him last year, said get in the area, whether it's free kicks, whether it's corner kicks. So he does have that license now to get up there and make some things happen, and he just seems to know exactly where to be and to fit in those right spots. Now, you had the chance to go into the Houston Dynamo locker room, talk to a couple different players, but first you talked to Giles Barnes, and really, what was their kind of demeanor? And we'll hear from Barnes in just a second here with his thoughts on the game. But what was their kind of demeanor in that locker room? Started the season off pretty well, but obviously losing here in Vancouver.
It seemed pretty somber and down. I think, as you say, because they had such a good start to the season, Houston, I think they came here with high hopes that they could get something in their first, I think it was their first road game of the year, but it was a very kind of quiet place. There was a real sense of, I think, disappointment by I think the way the game unfolded, and I think it will be reflective in the comments that we will hear. Yeah,
here's Barnes with his post-match thoughts on the game.
They're a good team. I think it's pretty obvious, It was coming off the back of 2 wins, and, we're feeling good. We're a little bit frustrated with the penalty decision, We don't think it's intentional. When you go to ground, your body part's on the floor. So I think that's a kind of turning point in the game, But I think we're still happy that we carried on battling through. This is a great team. It's a great locker room. We'll bounce back for sure.
We're going to hear more from the head coach of the Houston Dynamo in the second hour of the program, but we have to get his one comment where you basically asked him about his tough time here in Vancouver, and he had quite an interesting response to that, and we'll hear that comment from Dominic Kinnear, but then we'll get your thoughts on just how that went down. So here's Dominic Kinnear with his thoughts on, a tough time in Vancouver.
I really don't care what people are saying, to be honest. I think if you were to ask those teams what they think about us, they know we're a good team. So I really don't pay attention to other articles and people's opinions. I think we have a good team, and obviously their signings are going to make them a little bit more talked about. But that's fine. I think we know where we're at, and I think other teams around the league know that we're a good team as well.
Dominic Kinnear talking just about, doesn't care about people's opinions in the media. But we'll get to more of his clips and quotes later in the program in the second half of Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. But just what was his general demeanor? He seems like a feisty guy that doesn't necessarily like people challenging him.
I had an impression from others that I'd spoken to, and this goes back, I think, 2 seasons ago when they were last here at BC Place, that particularly when they're on the losing side, he can be a bit frosty. And today to walk in and try and interview him and see a very kind of despondent kind of mood between him and his assistant coaches, it was a bit unnerving to kind of go in there and try and pose some questions to him, because you just didn't know if what kind of things would be coming back towards you. But
yeah, and definitely some more interesting answers, and we'll get to those in the second half of Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. And a quick stoppage of play here. Kia Vancouver, 396 Southwest Marine Drive, or online at KiaVancouver.com. I picked up my new Kia Sorento all-wheel drive V6 EX. Simon, we drove out here in style for the show tonight.
It was gorgeous, a great car.
And, I did a major cleanup of my house over the last week after I picked up my Sorento, and it basically held all the recycling in the back, about 7 boxes of stuff that I took to the recycling depot. And, it was great. All that's in the back, and I'm up front with this comfortable ride. You can check them out for yourself in-store and online, KiaVancouver.com. don't forget, we'll take a quick look at the Fantasy Premier League brought to you by Umbro Canada in just a minute, a scoreboard update as well. But there are thousands of dollars in prizes with that Umbro Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk Fantasy League, including tickets to the Canada-Japan women's match, Canada jerseys, gear. I'm wearing some of the gear. Simon's wearing some of the gear today. Umbro is the name worn by top players and teams worldwide. Those same uniforms are available for your team or club at umbro.com. Umbro, proud to be the official supplier of the Canadian men's and women's national teams, celebrating 90 years of expertise in the game. If you want your club to play like the pros, dress them like the pros, umbro.com. Umbro, the heart and soul of football. And next week, as mentioned, in the Fantasy League, go to our Facebook page, check it out, sign up. We'll announce the first winner that's going to get you into some Umbro gear. It's for the best team name in the league. So we'll be doing that, and we'll also unveil what our contest will be for the Fantasy League for April. Next on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk right here on AM 650, we'll get the latest headlines from around the globe, brought to you by Uniglobe One Travel, and speak with BC Soccer's Executive Director, Paul Mullen. That's next.